The number of fatalities involving school buses is very low, but when fatalities occur, they most often occur during loading and unloading. In Pennsylvania, from 2000 to 2009, 3 students were killed while entering or leaving the school bus. The Kansas State Department of Education conducts an annual National School Bus Loading and Unloading Survey, resulting in a collection of fatality crash records provided by the state agencies responsible for school transportation, safety, and/or crash records. Only those fatalities involving school children in or around the loading or unloading areas of the school bus or transit bus are included in this survey. Onboard fatalities are excluded. A link to these surveys is provided in Unit C lesson summary of the manual. Loading and unloading maneuvers expose students and drivers to many hazards. You must be aware of the proper procedures for both driving the bus and maintaining student behavior while performing these maneuvers. Driving procedures can be found in Units F and G of the school bus manual. This unit presents procedures for maintaining safety during loading and unloading. These procedures include controlling traffic, assisting students crossing streets or highways, seating the students, and loading and unloading the students. The procedures to follow cover proper use of 8-way light systems at the bus stop. Here's our objectives in this session. Loading and unloading are the most dangerous situations. We look at laws and regulations in the use of your lights, brakes, traffic, and transmission. We'll look at the proper ways and means of loading and unloading students. These next few slides contain a sample of a few unloading and loading fatalities that have occurred over the last few years. Here, a student on the opposite side of the street darted across the road before the reds came out, and the 6-year-old student who was so happy to be headed to school went to the funeral home instead. Think about what you could have done to have avoided this tragedy. Some of us have had some near misses ourselves or remember when tragedy struck, not too far from home. Be prepared to share some of these experiences at the end of the session. It will help us all to be reminded of just how quickly something bad can happen and how we must always educate, and educate our riders. Here, a 9-year-old ran back towards the bus in winter time, slipped on the ice, slid under the bus, was run over by the rear duals. A 5-year-old was exiting the bus and crossing over into oncoming traffic which did not stop for the reds. The driver never applied the brakes. This young student died at the scene. Think about it, drivers. How could this have been prevented? Should the driver have waited until he or she knew for sure the traffic was stopping? I'm talking about the bus driver. Was the one running the reds in the car the only one to blame? Another 5-year-old was run over by the rear duals after she got off the bus. What is this telling us? Do not be distracted by the noise inside the bus to the degree that something far worse happens outside the bus. Control your bus first, and then control the crowd. Within the complete school transportation scenario, children are safest on the bus. Statistically, riding the bus is safer than walking to school, bicycling to school, or riding in parents' cars. But within the school bus transportation scenario, loading and unloading are the most dangerous components for children. During loading and unloading, student passengers are outside of and sometimes near to the bus. They are in danger of being struck by passing motorists and the bus itself. Sometimes students can be unpredictable and make decisions that are not the safest, like coming back to the bus because they forgot something. A driver has to be vigilant at all times. Here are some figures that may show up on a test somewhere down the road at PennDOT. Be aware of the danger zones. Be alert at all times. Expect the unexpected. Two methods are at the school bus driver's disposal for mitigating the risks to student passengers: education and safety devices on the bus. There are 5 components to safety education. Children need to learn how to wait at the bus stop, how to safely board the bus, how to behave on board the bus, how to safely exit the bus, and how to safely move from the bus stop to home or school. This education is commonly left to the school bus driver. Indeed, this education begins the first time students approach the bus and may require reinforcing as students develop and grow. School buses in Pennsylvania are equipped with an 8-way light system. That is, 2 amber lights to indicate slowing and 2 red lights to indicate a stopped condition, located both on the front and the back of the bus. The bus also has a stop sign that swings out from the side during the stop condition, sometimes called a side stop arm, and a crossing bar or crossing gate at the front of the bus to guide children away from walking in front of the bus so closely that the driver is unable to see them. Here is an illustration of what was just mentioned. There are general concepts associated with loading and unloading students in addition to the actual loading procedures. Load and unload students only at designated bus stops. Do not change bus stops without approval from your supervisor. There are many reasons for this, including avoiding lawsuits, complying with insurance regulations, avoiding wrong parental custody situations, and other danger factors involving the surrounding environment. Your safest way is never to do anything without the transportation department's permission. Students should wait at a designated place. This place should be at least 10 feet back from the edge of the highway at the approved bus stop. Students may need occasional reminding that they should wait until the bus is completely stopped before moving toward the door. Students should be reminded to be on time, which typically means being at the bus stop 5 minutes before the scheduled time. Maintaining the bus schedule requires cooperation between the driver and the students riding the bus. Be prepared to answer this question at the end of the session. How long should you wait when no children are present at the bus stop before moving to the next stop? If you arrive at a bus stop early or on time and a student you are expecting is not there, proceed with caution. The student may be a little late and rushing to get to the bus. I had an instance one time where 2 boys thought they would play a prank on me and hid in the bushes on the left side of the road. I kept looking to my right down their driveway to see if they were coming. I was about to proceed when I saw them rushing across in front of the bus. If I would have been in a hurry, I may have run over them. If running late, do not speed in an attempt to make up time. Always put safety before schedule. The complete loading procedure includes these major steps. The following slides break each of these steps into their sub-steps. Exercise extreme caution when approaching a bus stop and preparing to stop. The bus is part of a larger traffic context, but during the approach to a bus stop, the bus begins to exercise control of its context in order to provide the safest loading circumstance for the students waiting to board. The school bus driver has to be aware of the movements of the traffic to be sure other road users are responding to the control the bus is taking. During an approach to a bus stop, the driver must be aware of traffic. He must be aware of road conditions. Be aware of people at the stop, including students, possibly others that do not belong. Students approaching the bus stop, be aware of them as well. Activate the amber flashing lights between 150 and 300 feet to signal other road users that you are slowing the bus in preparation to making a stop. Remind students that their safety is increased if they remain back away from the edge of the roadway as the bus comes to a stop, and especially during weather events that negatively impact roadway conditions.
Did they just do that the other day?
After coming to a full stop, setting the parking brake, and placing the transmission in neutral, activate the red flashing lights of the 8-way light system. The swing arm mounted stop sign and the crossing bars will deploy. This will signal to other road users that the bus has stopped and that they may have responsibilities to stop as well. Drivers should note that doors on some of the newer buses cannot open slightly. It's all or nothing. Some do have an override switch, and drivers should look for this when learning about their bus. The override switch will activate the reds when the door is closed. When you are convinced that the traffic that must stop has stopped, the front doors may be opened fully to admit the students at the bus stop. Safe boarding begins with the driver teaching students the fine points of bus boarding. Make sure students know they should not move toward the bus until the bus stops and the door opens fully and you signal them to board. They must be able to see your face when they cross the street in front of the bus, and they must look both ways before crossing the street. You as the bus driver must be alert to warn students of illegally moving traffic. Also, count students as they board the bus. Students must be taught to be orderly when entering the bus and not to crowd or push. If you have a concern with a particular boarding location, tell your supervisor or school district transportation director. They may not be aware that a particular location is a place just waiting for an accident to happen. Here are the rules on seating. No standing. If you are involved in an accident, the authorities will want to see a roster or a seating chart or both. It is recommended that you will assign seats to your riders for several reasons. It makes it quicker for boarding, identifies students on board, helps in pinpointing damages done by whomever, and so forth. Preparing to leave a bus stop requires two main tasks: account for your passengers, and release control of the traffic context back to traffic smoothly and safely. Count your passengers as they enter the bus, know who is to be on the bus, double-check for late runners before proceeding. Make sure all passengers are seated and ready for the bus to be in motion. Check and recheck traffic as the bus transmission is re-engaged, the parking brake is released, and you re-enter traffic on your way to the next stop. Unloading your passengers can be more dangerous than loading them. You must be sure students get safely out of the danger zone, and those crossing the street do so safely. During loading, students are typically gathered at a designated loading zone at the bus stop, while during unloading, students are moving through the danger zones of the bus as they leave the bus stop. Use only the designated bus stops. A simulated or actual student discharge is part of the driver recertification skills exam. The following are considered automatic failures: not activating amber lights 150 feet to 300 feet in advance of your stop, not completely stopping, applying the parking brake and putting the transmission in neutral, not checking traffic, not checking all mirrors around the bus, and not checking child safety and rechecking mirrors before proceeding. In addition to the automatic failures, a failure on this part of the exam can also occur if you accumulate 3 or more errors. Approach and check. Items underlined are very important items to remember. As a rule, I do not allow the students to stand until they hear the sound of the parking brake being set. Psst. Then they can stand. Item 4 here, under stop, indicates for drivers to open the front door or the service door slightly. Again, this may not be possible with some air assist doors. You should note the doors on some of the newer buses cannot open slightly. It's all or nothing. Some do have an override switch, and drivers should look for this when learning about their bus. Now listen to this. This is important. During the in-bus examination, if you have an air assist door, you must be able to verbalize open door slightly, activating red lights and stop arm to the examiner. Even if your door opens completely, you must verbalize to the examiner, open door slightly, activating reds and stop. The National Safety Council does offer tips to students who have to cross the streets in front of the bus. They recommend that the student walk at least 10 feet ahead of the bus along the side of the road until they can turn around and see the driver. Students should always make sure that the driver can see them. They should walk across the road keeping an eye out for sudden traffic changes and stay away from the bus's rear wheels at all times. The National Safety Council also recommends procedures for safely crossing the street. They indicate that children should always stop at the curb or the edge of the road and look left, then right, then left again before crossing. They should continue looking in this manner until they are safely across. This is especially important when crossing in front of a school bus. If students' vision is blocked by a parked car or other obstacle, they should move out to where drivers can see them and they can see other vehicles. Then stop, look left, right, and left again. Your mirrors cover the bus front and sides well, but nothing covers the back or under the bus. This is important to know because if children return to the bus or crawl under the bus to get what they dropped, you can't see them. The most dangerous blind spot is around the wheels because if you miss a child here, the chances of a serious incident are very high. In extreme circumstances where you needed to get out and check under the bus, you must secure the bus and be very mindful of the students left on the bus. Emphasize that checking around and under the bus may slow the run, but the consequences of failing to account for all students and proceeding with someone under the bus are infinitely worse. Unique dangers of loading and unloading, dropped or forgotten objects. Always focus on students as they approach the bus and watch for any who disappear from sight. Students may drop an object near the bus during loading and unloading. Stopping to pick up the object or returning to pick up the object may cause a student to disappear from the driver's sight at a very dangerous time. Students should be told to leave anything dropped and move to a safe place out of danger and attempt to get the driver's attention to retrieve it. Handrail dangers. Students have been injured or killed when clothing, accessories, or even parts of their body get caught in the handrail or door as they exit the bus. You need to closely observe all students exiting the bus to confirm that they are in a safe location prior to moving the bus. 3. Schools. Another area where serious incidents occur is the loading and unloading zones at the schools. You, as a driver, must train your students not to push and shove other students when they get on or off the bus. Teach the students to use handrails and go directly to their seats and face forward at all times. 4. Students left on the bus. After your last drop-off and a safe location, make sure to walk your bus and check for sleeping or hiding students before returning to the garage or your home. Most buses are equipped with student or child detection devices, which force you to go back through the bus. If not, make sure you still do check through the back of the bus as to not leave a child asleep on the bus. Students also have the tendency to leave belongings behind, which perhaps they may need. Let's view a video that's appropriate for the things we've been talking about. There are rules regulating the flow of traffic in relation to school buses. The next few slides will clarify these rules. On this highway, all traffic stops on the red. On this highway, all traffic stops on the reds. If someone violates these laws, first make sure students are safe. Second, note the license number, color, type of vehicle, as well as the time and location of the incident, and identify or give a description of the driver as much as you can tell. Third, deliver a signed written report within 48 hours to state or local police with jurisdiction where the incident occurred. Note that emergency vehicles must stop as well, but they may proceed only if they do not risk student safety. Here's another situation where a bus is at a side street and an intersection. Everyone must stop if the red lights are on. Again, everyone must stop in all directions at all times unless there is a solid median barrier in the center of the highway. Then traffic to the left of the median barrier, if it's solid, is not required to stop. They can keep flowing. And now for a couple of scenarios. A school district has a bus stop assigned to 12 Main Street where it has been for years. This year, a new family at 18 Main Street insists on having their child wait in their driveway 3 houses down from the existing stop. Since the student is in kindergarten, the bus driver decides to add an extra stop since it will not take too much additional time. Is this okay? The answer is no. Load students only at designated bus stops approved by the school board. Never change a bus stop without approval by your supervisor. Student loading zones should be on the right side of the highway where visibility is clear whenever possible. You're on your afternoon route, dropping off elementary school students. It's pouring rain. Many of your riders are out sick, so you're running a little early because you don't have as many stops to make. As you approach the next stop, you see the student's mother 1 block away from the stop approaching with an umbrella. Since only her child gets off at this stop, you pass a designated stop and stop a block away where the mother is waiting with an umbrella so the child doesn't get soaked. Is this okay? The answer is no. Load students only at designated bus stops approved by the school board. Unload students only at designated bus stops approved by the school board. Never change a bus stop without approval of your supervisor or transportation director. Student loading zones should be on the right side of the highway where visibility is the clearest whenever it is possible. All right, so that concludes our section on loading and unloading, and now it's time to share any stories or ask any questions, and we'll spend some time here just wrapping this particular section up.